If this was the Stranger Things edition of Monday Night Raw, then Judgment Day is the upside down. Because stranger things have happened on Raw, literally. Liv Morgan is back on TV, Raquel Rodriguez is channeling Big Mami Cool in the best way, and Michael Cole is dropping breadcrumbs about the Judgment Day that we need to sweep up right now. So, welcome. My name is WriterMaven. I am the host of the Wrestling Receipts podcast. I cover all things Judgment Day. Dom, Liv, Raquel, Finn, JD, Roxanne, Poor Carlito, Most Americanos, El Grande Americano, and I guess I cover AEW now too because I love chaos. This Monday Night Raw is entitled Stranger Things Have Happened. Now, as with the recent Monday Night Raw episodes, we are still getting crumbs regarding the Judgment Day storyline development. Significant crumbs, mind you, but still crumbs. Poor Finn Balor wasn't used at all tonight, which, with Dom and JD out injured, is to be expected, but I would have loved to see the Prince pop up, maybe even hint at the demon on this Stranger Things themed night. But we gotta move on. We did get to see Demonito on his Instagram stories, though, so I think that's about as much as close to the demon that we could get. So let's get started, shall we? This is a merch check. We have new merch. First off, we have Liv Morgan having a new shirt. It has a movie poster vibe that says Liv Morgan Revenge Tour 2.0. Here's my question. Revenge against who? People will say Raquel, Finn, or Roxanne, but Raquel is just now doing things against Liv, and honestly, it's been mutual. Liv and Raquel have been going back and forth. You know, they've been petty and catty towards each other, so there's no revenge there. Finn, that might be some revenge, but Dom and Finn have talked it out, hugged it out, and now they're back to being stepdaddy and stepson. And that hatchet is buried, at least for right now. Roxanne, Liv has been petting her like a puppy dog. Last year, the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour made sense because the object that Liv was targeting was Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley who caused her pain. Rhea Ripley who caused her to be injured and be out. The Rhea Ripley who turned on her without Liv doing anything to her. That Liv Morgan Revenge Tour made sense. But now, this Revenge Tour 2.0 just feels like an aesthetic. It's not a storyline. Where's the revenge? We need an object here. So, if she's going to be getting revenge, the only object I could see would probably be Dom if, again, I'm not predicting this, I'm just saying, if Dom had cheated on her with Roxanne or with anybody else. That's where I could see a Revenge Tour 2.0 happening. But as of right now, with the current Judgment Day as it is, I'm not seeing any kind of revenge. But, anywho, that's my little opinion on that. Like, where's the revenge? Like, we need some more context here. Otherwise, people are just going to be asking, like, revenge against who? On the flip side, Dominik Mysterio has a new Stranger Theme-inspired merch. Now, I don't watch the show, and I'm probably not going to ever watch the show because I don't really get into shows like this for various reasons. But this shirt was sick. It's basically Dom Skeleton and with the Stranger Things vibe. I love it. I probably might get this. Like, this might be the only Stranger Things inspired merch that I get. And that's because it's Dom and the skeleton. It's really cool. Go check it out. Both Liv and Dom's merch on WWEshop.com. Now, here's something interesting. Before I went on live, I was chatting with a friend who piqued me to this little bit of information here. And I had to go check it out myself. On Dom's Instagram, he posted a GIF with the song entitled Lonely by Akon. Listen, the song by Akon is explicitly about neglecting your girl and taking her for granted until she's gone one day. And that's why he's lonely. The double entendres are coming back to play again. This could be about him being lonely that Liv isn't there with him. It could be him being lonely that Liv is getting up and leaving him. So you could take it many different ways. It's something to look out for. This is another strange song lyric coming from Dom that gives some really interesting vibes here. And like I said, it's a crumb. And these crumbs are starting to gather up into a full bread loaf if they keep going like this. But it's something to be interested about. And if you want to see that, you can go on the Instagram right now and check out Dom's reel, and you can see that song lyric. And then go look up the song lyrics yourself. It's Lonely by Akon. Some quick housekeeping. Finn Balor will be on Cody Rhodes' podcast, and Liv Morgan will be on Stephanie McMahon's podcast. Nothing more to add here. Just keep an ear out if you want to listen to those podcasts. I know Cody Rhodes' podcast and Stephanie's podcast have been pretty good, so if you want to know more about the demon known as Finn Balor and Liv Morgan, go check out those podcasts. Those are coming out this week. Let's get into Raw, shall we? Judgment Day walk-in. Nothing major here. It was just Finn, who didn't pop up later on, and Roxanne and Liv and Raquel walking in all together. But I have to say, do y'all remember how Dom was sad when Liv was gone after she was injured? Here, Liv doesn't have that. Just something to think about. Something that caught my interest, because Dom and even Raquel were sad, at least for a minute, when Liv was out. Now, I know Dom is probably not going to be out that long, because they're saying that he's going to be back around Royal Rumble, but still, where is the sadness here? It's just something that's piquing my interest here. Next, we get into Raquel Rodriguez and Stephanie Vaquer. Now, prior to this, we saw Stephanie in a soft boot on her foot, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm wondering if she's really injured. So they told us earlier in the night that she was going to be having an interview. So she was walking on her way to the ring. So Stephanie does this in-ring interview with Jackie Redmond, she's claiming that the injury won't hold her back. She's gotten 4 titles. 2025 was her year. Yada, yada, yada. So after she finishes her interview and she poses, here comes Big Mami Cool Raquel handing out the most vicious beatdown. She attacks Stephanie from behind. She goes for the ankle. She is wrenching it, slamming Stephanie around. She picks her up into a Tejano bomb and hits it, and then she goes to go for a chair and tries to do more damage to the ankle, kind of like what Rhea did to Liv 2 years ago. So she's going for the chair, and she was going to put that on Stephanie's ankle, but officials, Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce, and referees stopped that and prevented that from happening. And then, so, Stephanie and Raquel gets, chased off by the officials, so she walks off. And then we see during the commercial break, you hear something interesting from Michael Cole. Michael Cole says that Raquel has been distancing herself from the Judgment Day. Again, this is very interesting. This is another crub. She's been pulling away from the Judgment Day. After the break, and Stephanie is being helped in the back by officials, here comes Raquel again, and she starts throwing Stephanie around again. She stomps on her ankle, she pulls her by the hair, she's talking rapid Spanish to her. I couldn't get the translation on that. But she's just talking mad shit. Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce comes up, and he's getting in Raquel's face, saying, like, I will fine you until there is no more money. And then he's like, get her out of the building. So Raquel pretty much gets ejected from the building after this, but she had done enough damage to Stephanie at this point. My notes on this was amazing. This is what was needed for Raquel. She was vicious, she was violent, she took it to Stephanie Vaquer. I love it. I knew this was probably going to happen. I saw that Nikki Bella said that she wasn't there, so I know Raquel was going to pop up and do something to Stephanie Vaquer, but I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting the injury to Stephanie, but I wasn't expecting this massive attack. And like I said, it was needed. Raquel needs to build herself up, and this builds her up to be a more confident character. Right now it's a heelish character, but this could easily transition to something on a face side. And maybe at some point, Raquel is going to be the one who exits Judgment Day on her own instead of being kicked out. And the one who might get kicked out might be somebody else entirely, and I'll get into that later. But Raquel needed this. She looked great. I loved what she was wearing. She's been clicking on all cylinders, and it remains to be seen if she did this on her own or if this was something brought up by Liv, Roxanne, and Raquel, because they didn't really give us Judgment Day Clubhouse segments today. So it remains to be seen. Maybe next week, maybe we find out that Raquel did this on her own, kind of like how she attacked Nikki to go challenge Stephanie all those like a few weeks ago. Maybe it turns out that this is something that she did on her own without going through Liv again, clearing it with Liv. But we'll see. But all in all, Raquel is gaining this confidence, and I love that for her. Next up. Oh, also, we might also be getting a Tiffany Stratton Jade Cargill situation. You remember how Jade Cargill just pretty much took out Tiffany with her knee, and it just led to a match where Jade just pretty much folded up Tiffany and won the title? It could be doing something like that. They're probably repeating the storyline, but it might have a little bit more meat to it, where Stephanie might try to fight back, and then ultimately she can't overcome Raquel. Like, not straight up one-on-one without any interference, because the last time Stephanie won, it was interference due to Nikki. We'll have to see if Stephanie can beat Raquel without that interference now. Next up is Liv Morgan versus Lyra Valkyria. Liv Morgan made her television return against Lyra Valkyria. Liv had been fighting Lyra on the holiday tour, so this was her first television match. First off, Liv has some Dom and Spider gear on. She looked great. She looked amazing. You can't take that away from Liv. She looked amazing. Roxanne and Bayley were at ringside in their respective corners. The match was great, as expected. But listen to the commentary. Mami Cool, again, is saying that Liv wants to be the Judgment Day leader. Corey Graves says that she wants to bring glory back to the faction. I have a rant on this leader bit in a minute, but I'll get into that later. The finish comes when Roxanne pulls the ropes down and Lyra tumbles out. Bayley goes after Roxanne. Roxanne slaps her and then tosses Bayley over the barricade into the timekeeper's area. This triggers Bayley again. She starts snapping. She grabs Roxanne from behind, grabs a chair, starts chasing Roxanne out of the arena. Just chase her through the ring and up the ramp, off, out of the match. This just distracts Lyra, who Liv takes advantage of by hitting her oblivion on a distracted Lyra and pins her 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's get back to this leader bit. This is a personal rant here. This might go for the story, but this is a personal rant for me. As a Dom fan, as a ride or die Dom fan, I do not like Dom getting leapfrogged for this leadership stuff regarding Judgment Day, because he's never had it. Or at least he's never had the time where he has the ball and he's running with it for a little bit. We got it for a little bit of a second when Finn, JD, and Dom made up when they were going up against John Cena, because he had a moment there when he was telling John that he wants his rematch where he looked like a leader. Like, seriously. He was telling John he's going to get his ass beat, and JD and Finn were backing it up, and he looked like a leader. And I was really happy to see that, because we rarely get that kind of side from Dom. So for the leadership conversation to leap from Finn Balor to Liv, who isn't really even an OG member, I have a problem with it. Again, this is a personal rant. Maybe I'm taking this a little bit too seriously, but this is a personal rant regarding Dom, because Rhea had a chance to run as leader. Damian had a chance to run as leader. Edge was the leader. Finn, was kind of like the de facto leader, and it should go to Dom, but instead, Dom's getting leapfrogged and going to Liv, who, again, is not an OG Judgment Day leader. So I'm having a gripe with that as leader. Again, that's just me personally. And with this whole leader thing, remember, there are no leaders in Judgment Day. Remember that Finn brought this up himself last week. So maybe this is another thing that indicates that it might be Liv that gets kicked from Judgment Day, because Finn said there's no leaders. And remember what happens when people start trying to act like a leader. They get kicked. Maybe Finn has learned the error of his ways and realized that he was trying to act too much like a leader and dialed it back. So now that he's buddies back with Dom now. Now Liv is stepping up trying to be leader, and again, what happens to leaders in Judgment Day? And this could be just a foreshadowing that it's going to be Liv getting kicked, not Raquel. And Raquel, she'll just probably leave on her own. Also, was it just me, or was Liv's crowd reaction not as loud as I thought it would be? Like, compare hers to Rhea. Like, nobody really gets those reactions like Rhea does. But when you listen to Liv, it was kind of... I won't say it wasn't muted. It's just not what I expected. Just something to think about. And now, let's get into the rest of Raw. I'm going to come back and talk about Liv and Raquel in a little bit, but I'm going to talk about the rest of Raw and what went down. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky captured the women's tag team titles. Expected. This is going to keep Rhea tied up with tag titles for a while and away from the world title scene, which she desperately needed. So I'm happy for this. Hopefully Kairi can get her storyline back on track where she goes up against Asuka and can be a good baby face out of this. Uncle AJ Styles finally shut up Gunther by slapping him. I was thankful for that. Becky Lynch recaptured the Women's Intercontinental Championship from Maxine Dupree. Very lame. I do not like that. And why did you just toss the title to Maxine just to give her like that little month run, kind of like Tatum Paxley, only to go back to Becky? Now, I know Becky is probably going to be fighting AJ Lee or something like that, but it's lame. I don't like when people just get a title run like that short just for it to go back to the person. Like, give them you could give her a 2-month run, then toss that to somebody else. And then what's going on now? Ivy Nile was saying that she didn't want to go to the back of the line for the Intercontinental Championship. So now that Becky has it, what happened with Ivy Nile? Ivy Nile is a heel. Becky is a heel. So was that little blur back there backstage for nothing for Ivy Nile? You see what I mean? The whole thing was just lame to me. Also, the Usos are still using Jay's solo theme. They need to fix it. They have Uso Penitentiary use that fucking theme. Why would Jimmy want to come out to Jay's theme song where it's just saying, it's just me, Us? Like, come on. We have Uso Penitentiary. The Uso Penitentiary theme song is way better than Jay's theme song right now. Even Jimmy's solo theme is better than Jay's theme song. Like, use Uso Penitentiary. Or if you have to use Jay's theme, play Jimmy's singular theme first, you know? Do that, and then you can go into Just Me Uso so everybody can yeet and run it back all the time. Rey Mysterio finally remembered he has another protege in Dragon Lee. He was talking to him backstage along with Penta. I'm gonna need Dragon Lee to turn on Rey as is tradition because it's like now all of a sudden Ray remembers Dragon Lee exists. Like, come on, dude. I need Dragon Lee to turn on Rey, and then he can hook up with Dom. That's what I need to happen. CM Punk retained his title against Braun Breaker with the help from Rey, Penta, and Dragon Lee. So the Latin American Exchange, hint, nudge. Bob fought back the Vision from interfering, so they fought off Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Austin Theory. But at least with this, Dragon Lee isn't in catering right now, so I'm happy about that. And I was really hoping to see LA Knight, but he didn't pop up. Okay, now here comes some predictions. Now here's where these crumbs are starting to form a picture. Raquel, okay, let me dial it back a little bit. Liv might be getting kicked out. There are no leaders in Judgment Day. Finn said that next week. Is Liv trying to lead? Is she trying to bring glory to the Judgment Day? That's usually grounds for exile. 2. Raquel might leave on her own. She's gaining confidence. She's acting independently. She's doing things on her own. She might feel that the Judgment Day is holding her back. So she could just up and leave Judgment Day without getting kicked. Liv and Roxanne might get those tag team title shots. But it depends on how long this besties act lasts. We have to see if the Kabuki Warriors get a rematch. We have to see if Liv and Roxanne are really up next in line, and see if they'll just do a one-off or something else happens. So, where are we heading now as we get onto the road to WrestleMania and heading into the Royal Rumble? Here are my current predictions right now. With Rhea, Io, and Becky having titles, the path is clear for Judgment Day to focus on the women's world title. I predict Raquel will capture the women's title first. I think there's now an easier pathway to this, especially with Raquel beating down Stephanie. It will be easier for Raquel to capture that women's world title now. And I do think this happens at the Royal Rumble, like during the event itself. So while everybody else is doing the Royal Rumble, like Liv is in the Royal Rumble, Raquel is fighting Stephanie, and that's when she captures the women's title. And then after this is where Liv wins the Royal Rumble. And when Liv wins the Royal Rumble, she selects Raquel as the person she wants to fight for the women's title. And this could be where Raquel either gets kicks or leave, or Liv thinks that Raquel is just going to lay down for her, and that's not going to be the case, because remember, Raquel is going through this transformation, and she's like, that doesn't work for me, brother, and Raquel and Liv really start feuding. Wild card in this is Roxanne Perez. I'm not sure what she's going to do. I would think she would be going for the Intercontinental Championship if Maxine Dupree had retained against Becky, but since it's gone to Becky, that title, Roxanne is kind of in limbo right now. She could still be around as Liv's little protege, little doggy, and she might still want to stay around because she wants to stay on Liv's good side and wants to be close to Dom. She could do a number of things. She could be, while Liv is fighting Raquel and wants her world title, maybe Roxanne is doing some things in the background with Dom. That's always a possibility. Maybe this is what distracts Liv in the future, where she wants this revenge tour 2.0. You see what I mean? She could have it where Liv is all about, it could be something like Liv is all about the title, ignores Dom, and he gets lonely, and he starts having the wandering eye like Eddie does, and starts looking at Roxanne as a viable option. Or they've already had something established, and then they just keep sneaking around underneath Liv's nose. Or they could have it where Liv is just worried about Dom and Roxanne, because Roxanne, she's all so focused about this world title that she's pretty much leaving Roxanne to do whatever she wants. Or we still have that obsession angle with Roxanne. That obsession angle, a la AJ Lee, can still happen. So there's many possibilities on where this can go. This is why I don't say this is not just a straight up cheating situation with Dom and Roxanne. It can go a lot of different ways. I kind of wanted Dom and Liv, me personally, I kind of wanted Dom and Liv to use Roxanne, and it makes Roxanne crazy, and then she becomes obsessive, and then that just starts all kinds of shit. That's where I kind of wanted it to go. But now, you can go a lot of different ways, and we will have to see on this road to WrestleMania on where they take it. Especially if you take the dirt sheets, and remember, I always say with the huge grain of salt, they say they want to put Liv as a centerpiece for the WrestleMania season and as single contention, and Dom was not mentioned in that report. So it will be interesting to see what goes down during WrestleMania. And Finn Balor, my poor beloved stepdaddy and demented demon, needs something to do. I need him to step up and start challenging either CM Punk. He needs to go do something. I'm not sure what. I know Dom and JD are out injured, but he can be doing something right now. Something. I don't know what, but something. And that was Raw. We will see how things turn out. Hopefully we get some more advancement. I do think we need more major moments. We're getting a lot of breadcrumbs, and the breadcrumbs are being really, really significant. And that's cool, but we need major substance. Like, we've had this breadcrumbs for a long time. It's been a year. We need major moments to start happening now. Like, it should start rapidly building up with the Judgment Day, and we're not getting it. And it's getting really slow, and it's really frustrating. So I really get it when it comes to Judgment Day, when people just get tired of it, because it's just really, really slow, and you have to be really dedicated to it. So, and even I get to the point of like, okay, let's wrap it up. Let's get to another point. Let's get to another plot point. But that was Raw.